Hello, good day, everybody. Thank you very much for coming to the launch of the Graduate Assistance Initiative Network. We're really pleased to have you all. And sorry about the delay. We were waiting for a lot more people to join so that we can start the event. So at this point, I will call on Redemptor to call to order as well as introduce the event. Thank you.
Or if Redemptor is not here, I can just introduce myself and go on. Should I proceed?
Sure, please.
Yeah, okay. Maybe you guys will see Redemptor later as well. So yeah, thanks again for joining. Nice to meet you all. Maybe some more people will join later because I see that number keeps increasing for now. My name is Victoria Zinglab. I'm going to be event coordinator for this event actually. And yeah, today we're going to talk about the initiative GAIN, which you heard about somehow since you're here, and describe in more detail what it is about, what's going to happen, how it works. And yeah, maybe a little bit about myself. Yeah, I got Bachelor of Science in Computational Linguistics. My master's was in Cognitive Science, and currently I'm a first-year PhD student in Osnabrück University in Germany. I'm doing computational neuroscience. It's not on the slide for some reason, but I come from Russia, and so I have some certain experience of applying abroad. Yeah, we'll maybe talk about this later. Yusuf, can you please give me a next slide? Yeah, thanks. So today's agenda is going to be the following. Like right now, we're somewhere at the second stage, and we have 4 more stages to go. So we will have Brian, who is a keynote speaker, and he will tell more about scholarships, about the program in general, applications, like all most important information about GAIN that you guys should know. Then we will probably have a little questions answers session if we have time. Then Yusuf will talk more about launching of GAIN and how to apply and other details. And then Tracy will do some closing remarks. Yeah, thank you. So as I said, our keynote speaker is going to be Brian. He is a PhD candidate also in the US, and his talk is going to be about unlocking access to higher education for people from underrepresented groups. So basically the description of what our initiative is about and how it works. Brian received his bachelor in mathematics and physics, and his master's was in mathematics as well. And now he's also a PhD student in the US in computational science and engineering. Yeah, and I think we can proceed. Before we proceed, I want to make sure that Brian is here. Brian, can you say something?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, okay, perfect. So you will have 1 hour now, and it is both for the talk and for the questions. And does it work better for you if people can just ask the questions during your talk and you will answer them, or is better to keep the questions until you stop talking and then we can just ask everything after it?
Yeah, we can make it interactive.
Interactive. Okay, perfect. Then let's do it the following way. First of all, we think it's going to be more organized. If you guys if you have any questions, you can write them in the chat. And as soon as I see the questions, I will interrupt the Brian. Hope I'll try to do it nicely. I will interrupt Brian and ask him to answer your questions. Yeah, and if we also have some questions in the end, and if we still have time, we're gonna ask some more after the talk. Okay, so once again, please everyone, if you will have any questions during the talk, write them in the chat. I will read them out loud for you. And yeah, I know that there are people from different nationalities here. Please write your questions in English. so that everyone could understand, and it will be better for us. Okay, I think we can keep going and give the stage to Brian.
Yeah, thank you, Victoria. So, Brian, we can give you access to share your slides.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
No access yet.
Yeah, just 1 second. Okay.
Yeah, can you see my screen?
I think it works for me.
Okay.
Yeah, now it's perfect.
Right. So, hi everyone. I'm Brian Chandra, PhD candidate from Boise State University, and I'm the keynote speaker for today's talk to launch GAIN. So I'm gonna talk about a couple of things as you're gonna see as we go along. So the title of our talk today is Unlocking Access to Higher Education for Underrepresented Groups. So I'm gonna make this talk interactive. So as Vicky says, she'll be interacting me at the point, and I'll be answering these questions. So I think we can start. So the outline, I'm going to take you through the introduction of what I prepared today. Talk a little about essence of a scholarship, kinds of scholarships and other opportunities, where to find them, then how to secure the scholarship, and then give more details about contacting professors. As I did some bit of research with different professors around here, and I'll share that with you guys here. And then I'll give you a take-home message, and yeah, we shall call it from there and then answer questions if they'll be left. So I'll start by giving more details about me, the journey to where I am, and also my professional experience. So originally, I come from Uganda, so I'm a Ugandan by nationality, and my name's, as before, I'm Brian Chandra. So I hold a Bachelor of Science in Physics and Mathematics from Makerere University and a Master's in Mathematical Sciences in AIMS, Rwanda, the African Institute for Mathematical Sciences. And currently I'm doing a PhD in computing with a major in computational science and engineering. So that's a bit about my academic background. So the journey to here started from actually those of you who come from Uganda, you know, we have high school there, then we have university, then most of us call it off from there. But for me, it wasn't the case, because after high school, I went to the university to do physics and mathematics, a course which I knew after leaving the university, I didn't know much what I'm gonna use it for, because, well, if you don't have education on that course, it's literally not going to help you, because it's more of a research course. And from low developmental countries, we all know that research is not that to peak, as you know, you can just finish your physics and mathematics course and get something to do other than teaching. So me knowing that, I just knew that I have to go to, I have to enroll in for higher education, as that was my way out. I decided from day one of undergraduate to work towards achieving that. And to be honest, life wasn't easy, as it's not always easy. So I managed to graduate with a first class in physics and mathematics. And after graduation, life wasn't easy, to be honest, because jobs were not available. So I tried a couple of street jobs to make a life come to, but it was never easy until when I started applying here and there. And before I knew, I'd gotten a scholarship from the African Institute for Mathematical Sciences to go and do mathematical sciences. And by then I'd gotten another Master's of Renewable Energy at Makerere University, but my need to move out of the country, I couldn't think otherwise. So I just went for the Master's in Mathematical Sciences, where I learned a lot of things about academics and industries, which careers should be best for me. So while at Ames, as most of you here who come from Ames, you know what it means when someone says Ames. It was not easy. So what made me through was like I planned ahead my exit just when I reached Ames, because doing a one-year master's, time just goes quick. Before you know, the master's is already done. So I had to think that, okay, I'm here to do this master's, but in 10 months from now, what next? I don't want to go back home and struggle again for jobs and other things. So I started putting applications here and there, and to be honest, there were a lot of rejections here and there. The coursework was also not easy, as Ames, you know, it's a place where you have a lot of opportunities. You know, you have professors around the world coming over to teach us, which gives us a high advantage with recommendations and exposure to other sources of, you know, education opportunities like TAs, research, collaborations, and all these things. But with all this at my disposal, it wasn't easy because you'll be busy, you can't get time to cope up with such opportunities. So I had to apply a couple of places until when we had a visiting professor who made it easier for me. And that's how I got a scholarship to come to the US to do PhD in computing. And from my background by then, the person coming from physics and mathematics.
Okay,
now,
okay, Brian, sorry, I have to, yeah. I knew it would be difficult to do, but I have to interrupt you a little bit here right now because there is a
Okay.
person writing in the chat that they cannot see the slides. There is just black screen, although I can see the chat, so I don't know.
Oh, can you see my slide?
Can you guys, like if someone else cannot see the slides, can you write it down? Okay, yeah, I guess then it's the problem on your side, and if you don't see the slides, then just, yeah, maybe try to exit and then log in again. Yeah, because all other people seem to see. Okay.
Oh, but you are seeing my slide, right?
Yeah, other people are seeing. Yeah, it was okay. Yeah, but if you can start demonstrating them again.
Okay, I can't share again.
Okay.
Can you see them now?
Yeah, perfect.
And other people can see them?
And someone said that it's visible only on Zoom, but not on the Eventbrite side. Yeah, but like then I guess it would make sense to log in from the client for the computer from Zoom client.
Oh, so you're suggesting I should.
No, I'm just suggesting it to people. Yeah, like if you
Oh,
guys
okay.
like are, and yeah, some people can also see it on Eventbrite.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, I hope it works. Seems that the majority sees everything. I think we can proceed. Yep. You still have 40 more minutes to go. So
Okay.
45,
So,
please go ahead.
yeah, so I'll still talk about my background. So passion from physics, mathematics, then mathematical sciences, although at Ames we do a lot of programming. It wasn't straight to me to be going for a PhD in computer science, like someone telling you you can do a PhD in computing. I mean, it was hard, but something I couldn't just wake up and say, yeah, I'm in for this. So it took a lot of advice, questionings from different people for me to decide on that. And yeah, and that's how I got here. So I've been here for 2 years in my PhD. Now I'm in my third year doing research only. So that's so far about me, my journey to here, and a little bit of experience. So I'll talk about now the essence of a scholarship. So a scholarship is generally, it can be a grant, it can be unemployment. Basically, if you're doing a PhD, we look at a scholarship as a university employing you to do research for them. They pay your tuition, and then you do research in turn. So it can be unemployment, it can be a research assistant when you're just doing research for the university and taking your course. It can be doing research for the university and then doing teaching assistantship, and on the other hand, taking your coursework. So a scholarship is basically money given to you for school purpose to help you through your education. So most of the time it includes tuition, fully funded for most of the scholarships. At least around the US, they have the 50%, 75%, 100%. So you have to be keen when you're basically applying for a scholarship to know, am I supposed to pay anything or it is fully funded? If it is fully funded, most of the time, it is 100% tuition paid. So there's what we call a stipend. Stipend is a small bit of money they give you to sustain you, and this depends on the cost of living of the place you're in. So if you're in the United States, of course, it's going to be a little bit higher just because things out here are really expensive. So this money is just to make sure you live a good life. So they calculate it according to the rent, the prices of groceries, and all these kind of things. So these scholarships, you don't have to pay anything back. So it's just, well, depending on the scholarship, but most of them, you don't have to pay anything back. But if you terminate, some of them, they have a policy that if you terminate around the way, you have to repay all the money they have spent on you. But that is scholarship specific. Some of them include travel funds. So if you get a scholarship, let's say in Italy, they'll pay for your flight to come to go to Italy, and then they'll pay for your flight to go back to your home country. Some of them, for example, PhD scholarships, it's just unemployment, most of the cases. So they don't expect you to ask for travel funds and all these things. So before you think about such scholarships, you have to have a way of the way you cater for your travel, and sometimes the money you use when you have just landed in a place, because some of them, they don't actually provide that. But for master scholarships, it's a little bit opposite, because most of them, they'll provide all these kind of things. So some of the scholarships, if you're on a grant, let's say, so when you're going for conferences, they'll cover your conference registration fees, travel funds, stay, and all this kind. Not all scholarships do that, so it depends on the nature of the scholarship. Most of them I know about provide medical insurance, so you'll be 100% fully covered. Although in the United States, it's kind of different because the medical insurance is actually 80%. But I think our friends from Europe will advise more about this. I don't know how it is done there, but this is the money that will help you when you get sick. So it's really important when you're applying for a scholarship, because medical out here is really expensive. So you need something like a medical insurance on your package. Things like laptop, textbooks, and other school necessities are provided depending on the scholarship you're on. Some of them will give you something what we call like settling in allowance. Others won't. Others, your advisor, your supervisor, whatever it's called, may buy you a laptop and a grant, and most of the time, this is a university laptop that you have to take back after graduation. Textbooks will be bought depending on the research you're working on. So basically, that's what a scholarship can be defined for. So we have circumstances at which people get scholarships. So you can talk at them like type of different scholarships. So some of them can be academic. So academic scholarships depend on the field of study. So people who are in STEM, people who are not in STEM, they look at it in a different way. STEM, I mean science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So depending on your field, you can still get a scholarship. So you don't have to say, oh, I'm not in STEM, so scholarships are really hard. No, there are many categories and circumstances in which anyone can get a scholarship at any point in their life journey. So depending on your grades, for example, academics, it depends on how well you performed, your high school grades. It can be your, college grades, your maybe grades from your master's degree, from your bachelor's degree. So your major, what are you majoring in? Are you a linguistic major? Are you an arts major? Are you this kind of major? And also the test scores here, we talk about like the GRE, we talk about the IELTS, the English proficiency scores. So all these matter when you think about academics scholarships. But most of the time, when you're enrolling for maybe PhD, results don't really matter. But for masters, at least what you got in bachelor's sometimes matters. But that doesn't stop you to give a shot on any scholarship you see out there, because most of the time what tells you is actually what you write in your statement of purpose. And I'll talk more about that in the next slide. So some of them, it's your background, where do you come from? I mean, your culture, family name, your religion, because as we know, there are a lot of Muslim scholarships there. There are a lot of church scholarships out there. So you just need to figure out where to find all these kind of things. Others depends on the activities. Have you served in military? Have you done voluntary work? For example, if you have a lot of voluntary work, things like the Chevening scholarships will be your shot, because they really don't care about the grade you got, but how have you helped your community? They'll look at your leadership skills, the works you have done around for free, and that only can give you an opportunity to go for higher studies and maybe advance in what you're doing, or just advance and learn more in what you did in your previous education. So others, they can be financial need. Your family may have lots of money. So all what you need there is to get an admission into any university you like, and then the family can take part. Others is just financial eligibility. So if for example, if you fall into the criteria that they're looking for, you may find that they will waive your application fees, waive everything. And depending on your circumstance at that point, your parents' education may be able to land on a scholarship easily. Some of them depends on the skills you have. Are you an artist? Are you good at dancing? Are you good at football, running, volleyball? So we call this an athletic scholarship. If you're looking at it in terms of sports, many universities out here in the US are looking for athletes. So if you're good at any kind of sport, can just always shoot an application or an email to the recruiting department. They're always looking for people to play these sports. Others can be the company you're working for, and then it has some partnership with another university, or they just want to advance the education of their employees. So others can be government sponsored. We all know different governments around the continents provide grants for citizens to go abroad and advance in education. So others can be just grad school, So different universities have scholarships to grad students. So all what you need is just to reach out to professors, shoot them emails, reach out to recruiters and all these kind of things, and land into opportunities like graduate research assistants, teaching positions, collaborative research, as we're gonna see in the coming slides. So other opportunities apart from just scholarships for studying. So if you're a person who doesn't really want to move, you can enroll yourself in what we call the online collaborative projects, where you can be in your house and still work on different projects around the world, where you just have to collaborate with different people, for example, using platforms like the GitHub, Slack, and still get some good money, and you don't have to necessarily move. Others, they're interactive collaborative projects where you need to be in person. For example, you have to work at a lab and different people are working on the same project. And yeah, you can still apply for interactive collaborative projects and get out there and from your comfort and move to a lab, national lab, a university, a private farm, and do research for them remotely, in person, or anything. So it's not, opportunities are not only about coming to study masters, bachelors, PhD, postdoc. So there are several different things. You can apply for internships. Internships are provided all over the world. So you can try things like private institutions like NASA, we have Facebook, we have Google, we have national labs all over the world here in the United States. For example, in the previous summer, I did my internship with the Idaho National Lab, and while there, I really discovered that there are a lot of opportunities, and these people are always looking for people to work for them, but people just don't know that these things exist. So if you just want to do internships, you can actually just type national laboratories around the United States, then they'll show you, because different laboratories have different works they are working on. And what I can tell you, a laboratory, the national lab is like a government. They have all kind of internships you can ever think of. So if you just wanna work, don't hesitate. Shoot them an email, apply. And these ones, they're open to all nations. It's not only specific to Americans. So you should think about that. Conferences, it's a way to travel, visit places, learn about people's research, but also in these conferences, we get a lot of opportunities because we get to collaborate, we get to network, and we learned that, okay, there might be a professor there and say, well, I'm looking for a student who can do for me this. I need for someone who can do for me, keep up my website, keep up my simulations, analyze my data. So going to conferences is a way to travel around the continents, and it's a way to get to know more people, because the more people you know, it's like the more opportunities you're gonna get into. Grants, you can always apply for grants on your own. If you have your research, anything you think you can do, you can always write a grant and submit to things like the National Science Foundations. They'll always give you money to fund yourself, and maybe for masters, maybe for PhD, or you can always reach out to professors, present an idea, and then you guys can design a proposal and submit these grants and get money. We have things like fellowships. Fellowships are more better than scholarships, I would say, because the money is really sweet, more money. Most of the time, it's like 2 times more than the scholarship money. And the only bad thing about fellowships, they're very competitive and extremely hard to get. But once you land on a fellowship, your life is gonna be good for the rest of your academic career or anything. And these fellowships are very competitive, but very easy to get because not many people apply for these fellowships. So you can always check school websites, company website, churches, and different communities provide different fellowships to different kind of people, as we saw in the previous slide, depending on their circumstances. So jobs, you can always apply for jobs outside here. So we have all different types of jobs depending on your academic level. So if you're a person who just wants to go out and work, you can always check with companies, websites. You just put jobs at maybe Micron, then they'll give you all the kind of jobs they have and check the eligibility. If you like that, just shoot them an application. You never know. The more applications you put out there, the more feedbacks you expect. And if you're not certain, at a certain point in time, you get something out of it. So where to find these things? You can always do internet search on school websites, embassies. Twitter is a good source. LinkedIn is a good source. Many places. Just keep searching, but avoid scams. But most of the time, school websites are genuine. Go to the school website, go to the departments, look at the several research for different professors and read through those things. They'll help you to design a very competitive personal statement of purpose, motivation letter, and your CV in general. So you should always make that your friend. You can check email lists. So different organizations, departments, laboratories have what we call emailing lists, where different professors, different entities publish their jobs. It can be PhD jobs, it can be masters, it can be postdocs, it can be just normal jobs. So these mailing lists, you just have to subscribe to them, and every time they have adverts, they always you always find them in your inbox, and you can always check on these ones. Some of them are referrals. For example, we have colleagues out there. For example, we have our colleagues in Germany. They can they get to know fast when there's an opening at the department or at your university. Maybe a professor has a fund, or they are recruiting, they have a fellowship, or they have this kind of event where someone has such a background with feed. So referrals are really important, because these ones we basically get them from friends, from our teachers, and many people can refer us, and most of it's referrals. So if I have my supervisor, I know my supervisor has a fund, and I know, oh, I have a friend who has this kind of background, I can make that connection, and yeah, people can, get this kind of scholarships. Is because what happens actually outside here is like applying and someone referring you, someone who has been referred doesn't struggle into interviews and all these things, because if the person notified you is doing a good work, then they'll always say birds of the same feathers flock together. So they'll just take it from there. So always make friends and always network. So every time you go for an event and you see someone good, always say out your CV and stuff, because you never know where these people go. They can always be your referral people. Reaching out to professors, I'll elaborate more from advice to the professors themselves there. Now add on my own experience. So I'll pause that for now. Attending events like webinars, so different universities, actually every new year they will have webinars where they'll talk about their programs, talk about their funding, collaborations, and all these things. So you can always check out for these ones and learn more about different universities, different opportunities they have. This is very helpful because you get first-hand information and you know when to apply, what to say, and who to reach out to in case you want to know something more. Conferences, I've already talked about this. Hackathons are just competitions. Most of the time they are programming competitions, but there you can get connections because different people from different backgrounds, different entities participate in this kind of things. You can always make connections from there, and this can lead you to somewhere better. WhatsApp groups, like the Next Instance, it's run by a couple of guys. They may not be here, but different people outside share scholarship links there, job links, and many kind of other opportunities in there. So if you're part of such groups, you can always get firsthand, genuine links to several scholarships. So such kind of things are good to look into on your journey to secure your scholarships. So we have been talking about these scholarships. So what's the journey to get one? So this involves a bit of juggling, I would say, because you have to put a couple of stuffs in order for you to be at least, saying, okay, I'm on a good peak to get this kind of scholarship. So depending on a scholarship, these are some of the things you must always have ready. First of all, you have to secure your transcripts, whether official or unofficial, because this is one of the things that you should always have first. A transcript, you should keep your passport ready. If you don't have one, you should be in the process of applying for one. You need a resume or a CV. This one has to be specific, drawn specific to the kind of scholarship you're applying to. And if you have done a little bit of research projects, worked with certain professors, you're a member of certain industries, you can always include this in your CVs. And your experience have to be more specific to what you're applying for. So the way to write a CV is really, really, really important. You have to direct it to the.
Oh, okay, Brian, sorry, may I interrupt you again?
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. I got some private messages like here directly. No, like not in the main chat for some reason. Yeah, and people are asking like, what scholarship have to do with GAIN exactly? Can you maybe a little bit more like elaborate on this topic, like how we're connected with the topic of scholarship and everything? What does it have to do with GAIN project?
What GAIN has to do with scholarship?
Yeah. I mean, I just, yeah,
Oh,
just saying what the question was.
okay, so as far as I know, I think GAIN is going to help us to go through this kind of process to help us, because GAIN is going to give us access to different mentors around the world who are going to help us in the kind of things I'm talking about, how to write application letters like statement of purpose, motivation letters, writing good CVs, and channel us to the right universities, right professors we should talk to, so as to make our journey to getting scholarships so easy. I think that's what GAIN is gonna do, unless I missed out something you can fill in there. Okay.
No, all good. Thank you. I would just only add that, yes, just to make like a bit of framework that, yeah, GAIN is a project where we guys will be helping you to get like to explain how to get a scholarship or just how to apply somewhere without scholarship, if that's the case for some reason. And, yeah, thanks. I hope we answered the question. Yeah, please reach me out again in direct messages if something is still not clear. And Brian, please proceed. And maybe we have like 10 more minutes or so that we would have time for more questions.
Okay.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. So CVs have to be scholarship directed, and then essays here, I mean, like it can be a personal statement, it can be a statement of purpose. This all depends on the scholarship you're applying for. Some of them request for motivation letters, others request for statement of purpose. So it depends. So how to write this, I will elaborate more in the professor's advice, because they actually said it all. So I don't have to put there anything. Letters of recommendation, this should come from your a mentor, a former supervisor, or a work supervisor. But most of the time, if it's academic, it is preferred to have a letter of recommendation from someone from the academic field. Then application fees, this shouldn't worry you, because different universities is just a timing. They have application fee waivers and all this. And sometimes if you have communicated to a professor and things are going well, paying application fee shouldn't be an issue, because at least there you're somehow certain that you're going to get a position. So other optional things, depending on the scholarship again, how many publications you have. Do you come from an English-speaking country, or do you need an English proficiency to prove that you speak and understand English? If that's a university speaking English, the GRE scores, this is becoming very more optional since after COVID, people are trying to get away from this one. So contacting professors. So when I posted the GAIN article on Facebook, one of my professors saw it and came to me and gave me some advice on how people should contact professors. So one of the things he said is that guys should write good original emails with signatures, not just to write one email and just always change dear professor this, and share it out to 10 different professors. He said they already see these things, because these emails will, first of all, they won't point to their research, they won't point to what actually they are doing, and they will just know that this was a general email. And he told me they don't actually give time to that, and they're always looking for good students, because a student who comes through an email is more serious than someone who just puts up an application there. That's what he said. So he said that before you draft an email, first read about their research, their current research that they are working on, probably while they have a fun, and write a very strong original email directing to that. There you get their attention and they'll always get back to you. And he said, be sure it's a field you'd like to work on, because if they get back to you and things go well and you're not really certain about that field, you may just be wasting your time, because at the end of the day, you won't keep up with the research. He said, point your CV towards the research interest. For example, if you read about what someone is doing, make sure in your CV you have something in line with what they're doing, so that they'll see that, oh, this person has prior experience to what we're actually going here, what we're looking for. And that one will give you a stand when he's looking into different applicants to consider. So avoid sending out general emails, because they'll always see that. And he said, always have a target. So look at maybe 10 different professors you would like to work for in different universities or the same university, and only concentrate on those ones and send out and see. If you don't get those ones, get another set like that. Not to just send without a goal. There you get nothing. And he said, always ask for a meetup or be ready for one, because if you convince a professor about their work, be sure that they're going to ask for a meetup, or you ask for it so that they can elaborate more and see how far you know about their work, or how much you're willing to give, or how much you're willing to pick from what they have. So another advice was from Professor Jody Mead. She's a computing director for the computing PhD, I mean, and this person engages in, picking candidates. So she's quite old in the field, almost 30 years. So she has been on several committees, and she gave some advice on writing personal statements, statement of purpose, and motivation letters. She said that people don't usually write original essays. They'll go on internet, pick essays and edit and submit, forgetting that they have what we call plagiarism checkers, where they'll see that, wow, this person is just copying, because there's no way you want to go for a master's, a PhD program, and you can't sit and write 2 or 1 page of just words about yourself. That one just shows that you're not ready for what you're going for. So she said, always brainstorm, make an outline, and write about yourself. Create a story, your own story about yourself. And if you've done some research projects in your bachelor's, your master's, any field you are, make your essay a research essay and put links where possible to those works. Even if you didn't publish them, it can be a Google Drive, it can be a GitHub repository, anything. And always elaborate your personal and research experiences in those fields. And if you talk to a certain professor at that university, always include them in those emails and talk about their research and how you're fascinated with them. That helps the committee members to decide that this person is really into what, is willing to go for exactly this kind of program, and is ready to give whatever it takes. So always, before you submit your personal statement of motivation letter, always check for plagiarism. Just use things like Grammarly. They'll always check for you like grammatical errors, and check if no one has written the kind of work you have done, because that's important in the academic career. So take home. So these are some of the take home messages that you I think you might keep as you progress in search for scholarships. Always have a clear goal, know what you want. Always make a ladder for others. If you go for masters, make sure you make a name so that others from your field, from your background, from your anything, will always have somewhere to step on. Because if you go to a university and you work well, trust me, anyone from your former university, they won't think twice before they give them an application. So always, when you're in a place, think about that, and always maintain self-discipline, because this one will open doors and opportunities and collaborations with different people, because everyone wants to work with a disciplined person. And never forget where you come from. Yeah, that's really important. That makes you not forget that there are still other people down there that still need your help to get where you are. And doing such events we are doing now here with Brima, Red, and all these other guys, it's because we didn't forget where we are coming from, and we just want to share our expertise. That's why we are choosing to be mentors, to help several people around the continents to also achieve this, because we learned from a lot of rejections, a lot of unfortunate emails, but we didn't cease. We kept on pushing, and that's why we are here today. So don't push out 10 applications and they are all rejected and you give up. Yeah, keep pushing. I know guys who pushed in almost 200 emails, 200 applications for them to get only one single application. So that shows that it's never a straight thing. So people always start from a hard point to get to a better point. Make connections and collaborations wherever you are, fellow students, fellow workmates, because you don't know where you're going to find them tomorrow. They might be your ladder to step on tomorrow. If you treat them bad, they may never think about you when they get an opportunity. And always network, always plan ahead for the next chapter. So if you learn into a master's, plan for the next exit ahead of time, not 2 months out of your program. So always plan ahead to get something better from it. So I wish you luck on your journey to unlock your potentials, to securing scholarships, opportunities, and jobs around the world. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Brian. Yeah, that was indeed an inspiring talk, and Rami, I'm happy to read many messages in the chat like, thanks for inspiration, thank you very much. Yeah, I also enjoyed it a lot personally. So just want to emphasize that this roadmap thing towards a scholarship or a program, that's where our mentors will try to help you guys. And can I, yeah, please, like, if you have more questions, like, ask them in the chat. And in the meantime, I would ask Yusuf, I guess, to share the main presentation, like which should go next.
Yeah.
So that we could have it on the screen. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that one. Can I have slide where I introduce you? Okay, perfect. Okay, then I'll just wait for a couple more minutes just in case people still figuring out the question, and then can proceed. But yeah, I have more messages like, thank you, very inspirational, and we're very happy that you guys find it inspirational. That's what we're here for, to inspire you. Okay, yeah, I think we can keep going, and thank you again, Brian. And our next speaker is Yusuf Brima. I hope I pronounced your last name right. Yeah, Yusuf is actually my colleague. Like, we're working in the same research group, so getting PhD at the same place. Yeah, also in the Osnabrück University. And Yusuf has a very technical background, like he got a bachelor in computer science and master's also in computer science. You got 2 masters actually. I don't think I remembered that. The second one in mathematical science. And yeah, now we're actually doing PhD together. And yeah, Yusuf is actually the main leader of our team. He came up with the idea of GAIN, and yeah, and that's why we're here. Well, here right now, thanks to his nice ideas. And now he will tell you more about like organizational details, I guess, about like what the project is, how he came up with the idea, what our values are. And yeah, I think you can proceed now, and we will have it for like 15, 20 minutes. I guess the rules are the same. If you guys have questions, don't be shy, ask in the chat. I will interrupt Yusuf and ask the questions for you. And the stage is yours.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Victoria, for the lovely introduction. And I want to thank our audience, for taking the time to come and participate in our launch. And thanks to Brian, for this wonderful and inspiring, keynote address. I learned a lot, from his talk. So, and I also want to thank our team, the GAIN team. It's been a very incredible team, in terms of like coming up with ideas, putting things together, and finally we are here today. So it's been an amazing journey. And on that note, so I want to reiterate some of the points that Brian mentioned. So basically, it's very difficult, for people for coming from, like low income backgrounds or underrepresented groups to get access to higher education. So that was actually our motivating factor, to come up with this initiative. So as you can see here on the slide, so our vision is to increase human capital development of underrepresented groups. So human capital development here, it not only embodies, that of professional development. We are looking at it from a wholesome point of view. We are also looking at it from like the personal development of people, because if you're going through academia, you are not only developing professionally, but also personally growing. So underrepresented groups, so this is a diverse group of people, which I'm going to talk about later on, we are trying to cater for, so that, they can reach their potential, by being mentored, by these mentors, which we recruit. And our focus here, it's to bring a human touch. So that's why we say we want to make it community-led mentoring. So we bring real humans with to connect with other people, to help them, in this very lovely way to help them actualize their dreams. So this is our vision. So our mission is to provide a platform for radical inclusion. Radical inclusion means here we want to come up with new ideas of how, we can help transform the lives of other young people, so that we can democratize higher education. And what are our core values? So we sum them up in a very succinct way. We say, I care. So we have integrity, because we know integrity is one of the core aspects of being not only a professional person, but even, having interpersonal relationships. So we have compassion, altruism, respect, and empower. So if you look at his, we are saying everything has to be community-led, so in fact, like in African tradition, we have something called Ubuntu. Me, I care for you, you care for me, everybody cares for one another, so that we can live a very meaningful life as people. So GAIN is actually not working in seclusion. So we are in cognizance of the Sustainable Development Goals. For some of you who may not be aware of the Sustainable Development Goals, so these are 17 goals, which all world leaders came together and say, if we want to make the world a better place, these are the 17 thematic areas we need to focus on. So GAIN, as a student-run voluntary program, so we are also working in synergy, with these goals. So one is the eradication of poverty. I personally believe, education, plays a very key role in the socioeconomic transformation of societies. So that's why we highlighted, these subsets of the UN Sustainable Development Goals as our key areas of focus. I know like these things are interdependent, but these are our main areas we are trying to look at. So gender equality, it's another area, which is the goal 5. We have quality education and reduction of inequality. So these are the areas we are focusing on as a body. And so as you may see, in my next slides, I'm going to talk more about how these things are actually interconnected with our program. So basically, how do we operate? So we have mentors. So mentors are people like Brian, like me, Victoria, and some other people who have got some incredible amount of experience. They've applied to so many institutions, they've seen so many systems, how these systems work. They know, what these professors may expect, and how to put your application portfolio so that, you can increase your chances of gaining admission into your dream school. So these people, they are so kind-hearted, although they have their work, normally when you're doing PhD, time is the thing that you always run out of. but they want to help other young people grow, so they sacrifice their time so that they can help you not to make some of the mistakes that those of us have made. So basically our mentors, they are going to be there, to help you throughout the process. If you want to, for example, get a scholarship, so they will walk you through the whole process of getting a scholarship, like writing your CV, motivation letter, statement of purpose, how to find, a good school, like Brian was mentioning from the roadmap slide there. So they will walk you through that whole process. And, it's going to be a very incredible journey because they are really happy to help all of you guys. So for the mentees, so we are targeting 6 main categories. So we have underrepresented minorities. So these are applicants, for example, like from the Global South. Global South means mostly people from poor regions. Then we have first generation graduates. So these are people, who are the first person in their family to graduate from a university or college. So that's a very difficult process because, as somebody who is a first generation graduate, you have a lot of things that you have to learn by yourself. I am like a living testament to this. So we want to help these kind of people. So we are also looking at like gendered minorities, like women, non-binary applicants, trans, LGBTQ, to be specific. So we are trying to empower these people, trying to give them, a space, so that they can also empower themselves, enrich their potential. We also in cognizance of people coming from like low-income families. Generally, people from low-income families, they have like a lot of difficulties getting access to opportunities, So we are all taking that also into consideration, so that we can help these people in terms of reaching their dreams. And we are also looking at people, with disabilities. So we are factoring this, in terms of like our eligibility criteria, because, they should not also be left out. And yeah, so they are also part of, our scope in our program. Then we have, last but not the least, so refugees and politically persecuted persons. So we know, like our world, like, there is still conflicts going on in some regions. So we want to include, young people from these places, so that they can also benefit from this opportunity, in terms of like advancing their career. So basically, this is the category of people that we are trying to cater for in our mentorship program. And how does the mentorship itself work? So,
Yusuf, sorry,
yeah.
may I interrupt you right now and ask to go back to the previous slide very quickly, because we got a question, which
Okay.
Yeah, the mentees eligibility. So the question sounds like, do you consider people that fled Russia after the outbreak of war without direct persecution to fall into the category 6?
Well, some people may come from there and maybe they fall into either like first generation, or maybe they fall into gendered minority, or like low income, or even underrepresented minority. So we don't have a hard and fixed rule into what would be our inclusion or exclusion principle. So we know, we will be taking mostly the cases, into like a case by case basis. So we look at your situation and we see if, like you are somebody like who needs help, then we can try to factor that, into our decision making process. Because we have limited resources, we have like limited mentors, so we wouldn't be able to take everybody, unfortunately, but we will try very hard to take people, who we think maybe need more help, and others maybe like on a waiting list. So I don't know if that answered the question clearly.
Yeah, please write in the chat if you have more questions. Yeah, for me it was quite clear. Then yeah, I guess like we cannot promise anything because it's all on individual case basis, because we don't know how many people will apply and what conditions they are in and what kind of help they need. So we will just have to look at all the applications and then decide, as I understand that.
Yep. So as I was saying, so basically the mentorship process happens, in these phases. Okay, so we have the recruitment of our mentors, so which is currently ongoing, and it will end on the 2nd of October. So as I said previously, so these are also graduate students or people who have recently graduated, from university and have got a lot of experience. So we will recruit these mentors. And there are a lot of factors that we take into consideration when we are recruiting these mentors. Like, for example, like how available will the mentor be? Because the thing we are trying to bring here is, now if you go to the internet, you can find a lot of blogs, okay, on maybe how to make your statement of purpose or how to write your CV and all that. But there is still that crucial element, the human element, which is missing. So that's actually the thing we are trying to bring here. Some of this knowledge, it's not available on the internet, so that's just like Brian was saying, this networking component is what we really want to facilitate in the process. So after recruiting the mentors, we also will recruit the mentees, and thankfully to those of our attendees who are here today, the application, it's going to be open soon. So it could be your shot to start applying as a mentee. And if you are also in the audience and you want to be a mentor, then you are really happily welcome to apply, because the application window is still open. So for our mentees, as I mentioned in the previous slide, those are the eligibility criteria that we are looking for. So the application is going to be between today, September 16th, to October 16th. So the application process, it's quite straightforward. We try to make it as simple as possible so that we can give everybody a chance, to apply. And after that, so we are going to pair, the mentors and the mentees. And the pairing here will take place in October. So basically, we have a lot of factors we are taking into consideration, for example.
Yeah, Yusuf.
Yeah.
Sorry, we keep getting more and more questions in the chat, and I have to read them now so that it wouldn't be a huge pack of questions later. So the first one is going to be, is there any age limit for potential scholarship applicants and prospective mentees? Do they need to be fresh graduates?
That's a very important question. So we haven't put a limit on like how many years you would have graduated from college for now. So we are trying to make it as open as possible so that everybody gets the chance, to apply for it. So everybody can apply as long as you have the motivation, you want to pursue higher education, and you also want to take part in the mentorship, so you can apply.
Oh, thank you. That's I guess, very good answer, which gives a lot of hope to all candidates. Yeah, and another question, but was what will be the criteria for mentees? Like we actually talked about them before. Here, maybe I would say that like if you guys missed the part about the criteria for mentees, then we will upload the slides and also the video from today's meeting on website, and maybe you can go back and have a look at it again. And it also is going to be on our website criteria, right? So,
yeah.
We don't have to go. Yeah, another question, like person with diploma can apply. I'm not sure what diploma you're referring to.
Yeah, so it depends on what kind of diploma. But generally, maybe I should clarify. So what we are targeting here, it's people who want to go into graduate programs, just like Brian mentioned earlier. Suppose you graduated with a bachelor degree and you want to pursue a master's program, and there is a scholarship you want to apply for. Let's say, for example, you want to apply for the Commonwealth Scholarship, okay? So yeah, you really fit into our mentorship program, okay? Or let's say you are somebody who has a master's degree and wants to go for a PhD, okay? So you can also apply, then we will pair you with a mentee who can help you in terms of getting your application submitted
With a mentor, but yeah, sure.
yeah, with the mentor, you can. And I think in some universities, they can accept people to go for PhD with a bachelor degree. So yeah, so you can also apply and tell us, okay, I want to go for PhD, then we'll pair you with the mentor, who will help you through your journey.
Okay, great. Yeah, those are the questions for now. Sorry for interrupting.
Yeah, it's okay. So, so the pairing here, so we have a lot of factors that we are going to take into consideration. One of which is the time zone. So we know, since this is a global program, so we want to make it as convenient as possible for both the mentor and that of the mentee. Another factor that we are taking into consideration here is like language, because people come from like different settings. Today, our event is in English, but during the mentorship, so if your mentor, for example, is more convenient, with like Russian, and you are somebody from a Russian-speaking place, then to facilitate easier communication, then we can pair you with somebody, okay, who speaks like Russian. So just to make things easier. And there are also some other factors that we could take into consideration, to do the pairing. But we will try very hard to make sure that we pair people, in such a way, that we don't pair you, maybe if you come from an economics background with somebody who did quantum physics. So we want to pair you with somebody who has experience in your area of interest, so that that person can give you really practical experience or guidance, in terms of you submitting your application. I know there are like general principles that may be there, but it's good if you can have like a common language, if you are from maybe a similar, fields of study. So these are factors that we are taking into consideration. And so the mentorship process itself will be, from the start of November, until you submit your applications. So the whole process has a maximum period of 3 months. So within this period, so you as a mentee, will have regular meetings with your mentor, and you both will decide, the media of communication. For example, if you and your mentor feel like maybe doing video calls for like 30 minutes on a bi-weekly basis, it's more convenient for you to get your application submitted, then that could be fine. If, for example, you're coming from a region that has very low internet access, maybe email correspondence will be better, or maybe WhatsApp calls will be better. So it will be up to you and your mentor, to decide on the media of communication to make things very flexible. And during this mentoring period, so we will be sending out, survey forms to both the mentor and the mentee, so that we can get feedback about the progress of the whole mentorship, so that it can help us in terms of improving this program. So please, when you see our questionnaires coming to you, just spare some few minutes, fill them up and send them back to us. This will really greatly help in terms of improving the overall program.
Speaking about the questions, we got two more in the chat, and this is actually a very long comment, and I would like to read it, the entire one. I think you would enjoy it, because thank you very much for creating this platform. Mr. Grima has served as my mentor for many years. He was my lecturer during my undergraduate studies. Through his mentorship and guidance, I have secured a scholarship to study a master's degree in software engineering in China. My questions are: will there be an online platform where people who are seeking mentorship can go and access resources relating to scholarship, grants, fellowships, etc.? So basically the question is if we will create some platform with just resources for people who are interested. And second question is, can someone in first year master's degree get mentors to help them to apply for PhD or to another master's program?
Yep, I'll start with the first comment. So that's a very heartwarming comment, and yeah, thank you. I'm really delighted. He has gotten the scholarship, to go and pursue his advanced studies. So it's really great. So to his question, generally, we don't want to reinvent the wheel. In the sense, there are already a lot of like platforms that are available that post scholarships and opportunities. So we think what is actually missing here, it's the human touch. So it is the guidance, that you can get from a real person who has lived this experience, So that's what we are trying to bring on board. So there are a lot of like portals. In fact, in our last session, we listed some of these portals where people can go and find these scholarships. So finding the scholarship, it's not very difficult. Going through all the steps now, to submit your application and successfully getting it, it's actually where the pain point is. And that pain point is what we want to hit at. So I hope this helped answer that question. So, but like to maybe conclude on that. So we can still make referrals, to some of these opportunities. If people don't know about them already, maybe we can put a section of that on our website where they can go and find them. And for the second question, so if you have maybe your first master's and you want to go for a second master's, I think that was a classic example of my case. Yeah, so you can apply and we can pair you, with a mentor. Then you can undergo the mentorship process, then you apply to the program or programs that you want to go to. So that should not be a problem.
Awesome, thank you. And there is one more question, which I also find very important. Do I need to have completed school education to apply as a mentee? For example, maybe I have skilled work experience instead.
Okay, that's a very interesting question. So that is an area we haven't concluded on yet. So it could be that we could include it in the future. But for now, we want to target graduate level programs. I'm not quite sure if such maybe a certification can get you into a graduate program, but if it can, then it could be something we could consider.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I guess it would also mean like that you would probably might contact us later and we could talk about your case specifically, right?
Sure. So
Okay.
our email is here, then you can contact us through it. And so after the mentorship, so we will get feedback again, from both our mentors and mentees, and that will mark the end of our program. So we'll be following up on them, like to know how many of them we are able to like get into programs. We will be very excited, to see, most of our mentees, getting into programs, because that's our objective. We are trying to aim at here. And so this is the cycle of the mentorship, basically, that we have laid out for this particular year. And
before we go into next section, we have one more question, but I guess I might try to answer it maybe. And Yusuf can correct me if I forget something. The question is, what will be the criteria for someone to get a mentor who can guide the individual to secure a good scholarship to pursue master's degree? I guess like getting a scholarship is part of our like guiding to try to get a scholarship is part of our mentorship program. So the criteria for someone to get this kind of mentor for this purpose are going to be the same as the criteria for all other mentees. So like we have talked about the 6 criteria, like 6 groups of people who we will consider who can apply. And yeah, so the criteria are the same for them for the scholarship or for PhD or for something else. Correct me, please, if I'm wrong.
Yeah, well said.
Perfect.
So we have a team, a very incredible team that has been helping, put all this together to make sure that we are at this point today. So this is our team. So as you can see, it's quite a very diverse team. And So all of them have been working really hard, to make sure that, we try to see how best we can help as much people as possible. So I want to thank, all of this awesome team, for the work done so far. And behind the scene also, we have our mentors. So the mentors are there. We didn't put them on the screen. So this is the GAIN administrative team that have been working behind the scene to make sure that things get to the point where they are today. So we have our mentors also, and so they are very instrumental towards the overall process. And and I also want to thank you guys also as the upcoming mentees for everything. I think I would stop here at this point. And if you have questions, always feel free to reach out to us via our email. And also there will be links, on our website, as Victoria had mentioned, that our website is still under development. So we are going to have social media pages. So you can connect with us on these platforms, and we will be happy to help you guys.
Yeah, thank you very much, Yusuf. It was a very useful talk. Yep, I think you covered all most important points. And we already have one more question in chat. First of all, thank you for enlightening us today. And the question itself is, so this is the only platform currently available for GAIN? I'm not sure what kind of platform you are. If this is the only platform. I guess like we're going to have a website, and the mentors and mentees can like, if you were accepted as a mentee, you will be able to communicate with the mentor on, I don't know, any kind of social media platforms you guys prefer.
Yeah, and maybe to add to that, so one thing I could say is, after applying as an applicant to be a mentee, so when we select people, so we'll contact them via emails, and then I think we are going to have we will have like a general platform. It could be Telegram or some other maybe Discord or so. So where we can have more interactivity, because what we are trying to actually do here is we want to bring this level of interactivity into our program. So yeah, these things will be like in the process of being developed.
Yeah, we will try to create a community. Exactly. And I have one more question, which is actually quite specific. Does one need a letter of admission from the university in order to get a scholarship, or one needs scholarship approval to get a letter of admission from the university?
Yeah, generally that may depend on programs. So the scholarships in themselves, they don't follow one rule. So different scholarships have like different processes. I can remember like the time I was applying to join the Commonwealth Scholarship, we had to package our documents as a PDF and just send them to the scholarship review committee, and they apply to the university. And so you get the scholarship and automatically you're admitted into a university. But there are some cases, where your application for the scholarship and your application to the university, they go side by side. So sometimes there are even preconditions that before you get scholarship, you must have gained admission into the university. So it's not a one size fit it all. But interestingly, most of these like scholarships or fellowship or whatever opportunities, so they have like guidelines, okay, that are put out. So like these people are really great, so they make it very detailed as possible so that you can really see everything that they expect of you. So that is the reason why. So I think
Yusuf, would you maybe probably be able to mute the participants selectively? As in, yeah, as you created the room.
Yeah. Okay, so as I was saying, so this is actually where, the experience of your mentor comes in, because your mentor is going to help you now go through, like, for example, if you want to go for the Shaving Scholarship, your mentor is going to help you now, to see, okay, this is what you want to apply for. Let's go through it and see what are the requirements, what do they expect of you as an applicant for the scholarship. Then, we get all the document that you need, then you can apply for it.
Thank you. That was a very clear answer. I would just summarize that it depends on the scholarship, it depends on the university. Your mentor, we hope, will be able to help you to figure out what is your case and how to proceed in there. Yeah, and we have like maybe 3 more minutes to ask and answer last questions if you have some, and then we can proceed to Tracy's part. So guys, if you have any questions, like, still it's the right time to ask them in chat. I guess then we can move on to Tracy, and if people still write down some questions, if you have time, we can answer them later. Right.
All right. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And right now we get the question. Okay. Sorry, Tracy.
No problem.
But you're free to participate in the answering the question part if you want to. Okay. So
Of course.
It's okay. So the question is, can I ask about a point? Can I ask about a point in the application form? Sure, go ahead. Yeah, or maybe we have to wait a little bit, or you can just start uploading your slides if you have slides now.
It's basically just, I would
Okay.
like to summarize what we have heard so far. And in a nutshell, both Brian and Yusuf gave us a lot of information that might feel a bit overwhelming in terms of where to apply and how many options there are. And then just to take it all to a conclusion, I would like to say that there are a lot of resources out there that can feel overwhelming to go through if you don't have somebody that has some experience next to you. And basically what we wish to do as a platform for graduate students is to help you connect with somebody that has already gone through this process and that can also understand a bit of your background and that even might qualify in the same categories as you do. So in order to be able to apply as a mentee, you can go directly to our website that's already displayed on this presentation, or you can write to our email that's also displayed at the bottom right of this presentation. And there you can fill out our form. I guess there are some more questions coming in. So
Yeah, thank you, Tracy. I just shared the link to the website again in the chat, so if someone doesn't have it, save.
wonderful. And yeah, that is the main point. So our main point is to help you locate the resource of somebody that understands what you're doing and that can help you through the process that you need to go through. So that will be it from my part. I will just like to thank you all for staying with us for so long and thank the panel for providing us with such detailed information.
Yeah, I think we had wonderful speakers today. Yeah, a lot of information indeed. A lot of information was new to me as well. But yeah. Okay, and we started getting questions. Okay, so I guess we can spend a little bit more time on answering them. The next question is, this organization, that's a great question actually. This organization, is it non-profit or non-government organization for awards and scholarships? I guess it's time for Yusuf to answer.
Yep, it's a very great question. And so, as we had talked about it a bit earlier, again, it's a student-run voluntary network. So it's a not-for-profit, and it's also not attached with any government. Currently, we have affiliation, with Osnabrück University, and so we also have collaboration, with the Osnabrück Student Society. So we are also looking forward to, establishing more, partnerships, with other organizations, and so that's it for now.
Yeah, thank you very much. And one more question about the application form. There is a question about maximum education level. I'm Bachelor of Commerce, but I'm not sure which point should I choose. So I would say, like, if you have a bachelor's degree and you don't have a master's degree yet, then you say that your maximum education level is bachelor. BSc, I guess, in the form, Bachelor of Science. Yeah, I could just say thank you. You're welcome. Always happy to answer the questions. Yeah, should we give it some more minutes and wait for people to ask some more, or maybe we can just call it a day here at this point? Yeah, I think I don't see more questions in the chat for now. So I would say, yeah, we could just finish it here, but like,
Hello.
yeah, I think I don't see more, yeah, we could just finish it here, but like,
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Vincent, we can hear you.
I guess someone is trying to ask the question with a voice. I mean, I wouldn't mind since like we're close to the end anyway.
Please, I have something. I have some few questions.
Guys, if you
want
still
to
have
ask
questions
them.
which you want to ask, you can please write them in the chat. Guys, you can please write in the chat. I couldn't recognize what you said. I just wanted to say what I said was that like we encouraged you to ask more questions in the chat if you have some. Yeah, sorry, we can't hear you well. You keep breaking, interrupting. That's why we encourage you to ask in the chat where we can read it for sure and answer. So yeah, we have one more question. Then I would say let it be the last one. I want to know how to get a mentor. Yusuf, can you please briefly answer that?
Sure. So I had mentioned in the slide. So after the application window, so we're going to do the pairing, and so from that point on, we would notify those who are going to be selected to be mentees, and as well as how they can contact their mentors. And so we have a lot of things that have been put in place about the onboarding process and all the necessary details that it could involve.
Okay, thank you. And yeah, I know I said that it was the last one, but this one is also interesting. Is mentorship for application for postdoc program possible?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. So it's something that we hadn't decided on, but we could take it into consideration. If maybe not this year, but maybe by the next mentorship phase, then we could factor it in.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I would say we can call it a day at this point. And thank you again, our wonderful speakers and all people who are joined this meeting and asked all the questions and were listening to patiently to our lectures. I hope you guys find it interesting. Yeah, thank you very much. What I said. One more question is here. Do I need to translate my confirming documents into English language? Confirming documents, I guess those would be like the documents confirming that yeah, that you belong to one of the mentees group. Or I would say it's also case-to-case basis because like if we have people in our team who can actually speak the language which your documents are, probably just ask this person to yeah, to help us to help the team understand what the documents are about. Yes, but persecution, nationality, low income. Yeah, I would say it depends on language. I mean, if you can only speak like if documents are on language no one from our team knows, then yeah, it would be desirable for you to translate them to English. Yeah, and the number one, sorry, I lost first part of this meeting. What professions are good for this program? Or one can have diploma and doesn't matter for what you studied before.
Maybe I can help with that. So for the mentorship here, we are trying to make it very open and accessible. So we are trying to cater for as many fields as possible. I think the binding criteria here may depend on if you, for example, studied a particular subject, if we have a mentor, who can help mentor in that area. But if we can't have like a mentor who can mentor in that area, but we have maybe somebody who is closest to that area, who has expertise closest to that area, we can still try to match you with that person.
Yeah, thank you, Yusuf. I would say now it's time for us, at least for me, to end the meeting, or I can go and you guys keep communicating and maybe ask more questions if you want to. Yeah, I would definitely have to leave for now.
Yep. I think what I could encourage people is to send us their questions, via our email if they have follow-up questions. And yeah.
We also should have a form for contacting us on the website.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So I just shared the meeting on the website. Share the link to a website here in the chat, and you can just go there and find an application form in the bottom right corner of the page, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, if you still have more questions which we haven't answered today, you're welcome to write them in there. We will try to answer. Okay.
So I guess on that note, we would officially call it the end of today's event. And thanks everybody, for staying around. It's been such a very informative experience, and wish everybody good luck.
Yeah, thank you. Well, we are waiting for you guys in our application forms.
Thank you
have
so
to
much
say.
for the talk.
Good night, everybody.
Goodbye.